Appreciate it. My name is Jim Williams. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at BlueCat Networks, as introduced by Tom. Again, we appreciate the opportunity, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing in the DNS space and why we think that's exciting. I'm joined by some colleagues here that represent the best of our field engagement team, because we wanted to bring a lot of perspective on what our customers are looking for to this conversation, because that's what drives our innovation and our roadmap. Jason Davis, who's the head of our BlueCat experts team. He actually does engagement in the field. He's going to join us and spend a bunch of time in front of the whiteboard. And then I have Kevin Wilson, who's actually with our solution architects team, and Noel heads up the solution architects teams, right? So these guys that actually put together the solutions that our customers are looking for. And Dana Iskolsky is here. She's joining us. She actually helps us on our PR and our influencer marketing, which is all you guys. You're influential. That's why she's here. So I'm going to just give you a quick introduction to the company, what we do, who our customers are, what their problems are, and the space we've been in. And then I'm going to turn it over. That's kind of the marketing stuff that I know you guys detest. So I'll get out of the way quickly. I'm going to turn it over to the guys in the field to talk about what's happening that's really innovative in the field. And shoot questions as we go, which I'm sure you'll do. So first, let's go back. I'm calling this Disrupting DDI, the BlueCat story. For those of you that are unfamiliar with it, DDI is an acronym of acronyms, as you can only do in network technology. It's DNS, DHCP, and IP address management. That is the space that, frankly, BlueCat has been in for the last 18 years. And we think it's going through a big transformation, and we're part of that transformation. I'm going to tell you how and why. Just a quick overview of the company. We are actually the second token Canadian here. We're a Canadian company. We're founded in Toronto. We do enterprise DNS solutions. We're going to talk a little bit about what enterprise DNS is. We were founded, as I said, in 2000. We're about 400 employees and about 1,100 customers that are scattered around the world. We actually have offices in Germany and England and Tokyo and Dallas and Toronto. And we serve a wide, far-flung group of customers. Our vision at BlueCat is to unleash or unlock the latent potential of DNS. Now, many of you, and actually I should just ask that question to start off, how many people here have touched or configured DNS at all in their career? Okay, and how many people have done that like for an organization? Not necessarily an enterprise, but a corporation of some significant size. I'm curious. Okay, great. So that you're familiar with DNS, you know that DNS is an always-on, ubiquitous service that occupies a critical space in the networking thing. It's the first hop, if you will, the network before the network. I'm going to talk a little bit about how that turned into a market space called DDI and what happened to it over the last couple of years. But our mission, so you understand, is to unleash the full power of DNS, and is really to give our customers unprecedented visibility and control over what happens on their network and who's on their network and why they're on their network, to unlock more pervasive automation in conjunction with other critical infrastructure like DNS, to provide a lot more agility and flexibility around cloud, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud deployments as compute moves from the data center out to the cloud and back. And finally, for enhanced security, which is always on everyone's mind. What can DNS do to actually enhance your security? That's what we call enterprise DNS, and it's our vision. And JD will get into that. Just quick tail of the tape. As I said, about 1,000 enterprise customers. We do tend towards the largest of the large. Most of our customers are over 20,000 employees. Think about 10,000 DNS service points, if you will, that represents 100 million IP addresses and 100 billion DNS queries a day. I think that's actually a small fraction. It's actually larger than, I think. The sheer amount of volume that's represented by DNS queries is overwhelming. It's overwhelming for our customers to manage, to understand, to analyze, to interpret, and we help them with that because there's a lot that can be gleaned from those DNS queries. Customers are scattered across a range of industries. They tend to focus, if you just take the biggest chunk there, Fiserv, education, manufacturing, retail is a big chunk, but it really is well diversified because, again, DNS is ubiquitous. It's used by every type of organization, large or small. It's a quick look at who our customers are. And what our customers care about is not DNS or DDI. right? What's driving their agenda is the same things that you guys read in every publication. I'm sure it's in some of your publications or your podcasts, et cetera. It really comes down to, we categorize in these 4 categories: software-defined everything, cloud, automation, and security. The growth rate in these areas is rampant, and in many cases, DDI holds back these initiatives. It actually operates as a brake, right? This traditional space, this legacy DDI space, because frankly, it's a little bit sleepy, the DDI market, and the technology hasn't caught up, and managing it is difficult, and it's complex, and it's controlled by a small handful of what we consider to be wizards in a lot of our companies. And so in order to unlock the capability of these strategies, people need to transform DDI into something more profound. Now that is what the experts say, industry analysts, and the quotes you see. This is what our customers say. We survey them about every 6 months on what's driving their agenda, and you can see it kind of matches, right? Security, always top of the agenda. Boardroom material, that's what drives. Specifically, what can DNS do to enhance your security? And then it gets into automation, virtualization, cloud here, cloud there, cloud everywhere, okay? So this is why people turn to BlueCat. So why do I say DDI has been holding them back, and why do I say BlueCat is disrupting DDI? Because DDI is this network protocol that's been around since the early 80s, the dawn of the internet, and it just works. It works really well. You ask a question, it delivers an answer so that you can connect to the network service application that you desire. It's traditionally been very device or query oriented, right? Just get whoever's making the query the right answer so they can go on their way, connect to the network, get the information they need, right? So we call it pervasive because it's scattered throughout the organization. It's resilient, but it's incredibly naive. Our CTO refers to it sometimes as the chump. Like, just going to ask the question, and it's going to give you a response. It doesn't matter who's asking or what the question is or where the answer comes from. It's going to provide an answer, and we think there's potential to make it much, much more intelligent by knowing all of these pieces. And again, it happens at the first hop. It's the first touch. The origination point of every network connection is the DNS query and resolution. And there is huge strategic value in owning that first hop on the network. Here's the problem with DDI. It's really, really messy. When you go into a large organization like any of the ones on the sheet in front of you, which I'm not permitted to say publicly, you'll find that the DNS architecture and infrastructure has been built up over years and decades of mergers and acquisitions and diversification, and it's has overlapping zones and really, really messy data, and there's all types of outages that are happening behind the scenes. Sometimes they're really public and sometimes they're not public at all, but often an outage drives the first step where the customer says, we need to do something about this. We need to move to a platform because the infrastructure that runs DNS, this mission critical service, is based on freeware that comes in Microsoft or open source bind or something like that, and it just doesn't do a good enough job to provide visibility and control. Often, the higher you go in the IT organization in these large companies, the less and less they know about DNS. Maybe they don't even know the team that's responsible for managing it, but when it disappears, when it flickers, suddenly everybody knows because it's such a profound disruption to business. So it's really messy. It's extremely outdated. As I said, a lot of this is old hardware, appliance-based models. It's not very modern. Many of the organizations that compete in this space, frankly, I would consider to be not the most sophisticated organizations in the world. And so it's very outdated, and it requires change is really, really slow. The people running this, as I said, act as a brake on things like DevOps and initiatives. People they want to spin up networks quickly to test applications, and so they go to the network team and they're trying to get IP made available to them or networks spun up, and they just can't react fast enough. Okay, so they act as a brake. They become the department of no all the time, and it's really, really frustrating for our buyers. And then finally, as you guys know, it's vulnerable. Its naivete makes it highly susceptible to attacks by bad actors. Like 91% of malware uses DNS and usually uses it within the first few seconds of actually delivering a payload as it tries to find a domain for command and control instructions to move laterally or exfiltrate data, et cetera. And not a lot is being done by our customers to prevent that by looking at the raw DNS data itself. And so we think the future is something that we call enterprise DNS, call it what you will, but it's about more than the service itself, you know? It's like, you know, it's not the pipes that makes plumbing really valuable, it's the water. And it's the same for DNS. You know, it's the massive amounts of data that flow through this DNS system is where the value is. It can tell you things like what's happening on your network and whether it's an anomaly or a new behavior or a new domain. And the domain that delivers the response could be registered recently or registered in the wrong place or delivering the wrong type of information. If you can collect the data and analyze it, you can deliver all types of intelligence for cybersecurity, data center migration, all types of other interesting things. And that's the business that we're in. We call it enterprise DNS. It's innovating around the core DDI infrastructure from the outside in.